Hello everyone. This week I have brought you by part 2 of drawing characters from novels with only description. And it's from two of the novels which I have already read and I recommend you to read it too. Also, apologies for the inconvenience, but for some reason I brought this iPad from the USA, and in my country for some reason the CapCut doesn't work. So when I'm trying to do this, it shows this. That means I have very limited editing sources. And if I had to download another editing app, it doesn't have the free audio system like CapCut has. If you guys know any solution to this, please help me. So our first book is Graceless Heart by Isabel Ibanez. I'm sorry if I pronounced the author's name wrong. A lush, atmospheric, and achingly magical standalone adult fantasy romance set in Renaissance Italy. And trust me, when I read this book, there were a lot of references from the Renaissance period. Here is a mood board I made on Pinterest. And to tell you the truth, this one was kind of the hardest artworks for me. I never drew couples, and I got this romance book from Target. The problem with me is that whenever I go to the bookstore, I get confused. I could spend 2 hours searching for the right book. In a hurry, I accidentally got this romance book. I thought it was only fantasy fiction. Got 2 books, by the way. Along with Grace's Heart, I also got this book, by the way. And honestly, I hated it. I'm so sorry. It was another cliche type story where the main protagonist is a girl who gets kidnapped, and the second protagonist, her lover, is obviously a dark gothic black-haired, knight or something, very emo, and has a secret place in a heart for the girl. It was so long that I rested my ass sitting there for I don't know how many days it took, probably months. I'm sorry to those who got offended, who loved this book, but I didn't like it at all. Maybe it was just my fault. Anyway, the pose was the hardest for me to draw. I was switching between if I want to draw them in the castle, dancing, in the ball, or do I show something intense? And so I got inspired by one of the scenes in the novel where Ravenna, the main protagonist, saves Saturnina in the water. So I tried to make a drowning pose, them inside the water, the main protagonist rescuing him. Now let's talk about a little about the story of this novel. It's about a sculptress, Ravenna. She wants to rescue her brother, that's why she participates in a competition with the other sculptors. Her statue is called the Pluto, which kind of looks similar to Saturnina, by the way. And at the time of the competition, she wins, but at what cost? The Looney family, a royal family, kind of kidnaps her, not exactly kidnapped, but takes her away from her family. And she was surprised that none of her family members yelled or tried to save her. Ravenna is really confused of what's happening around her. When they make it to the Florence, a place, she meets all the family members, and one of them is Saturnino. The story is kind of like enemies to lovers, where Saturnino is the prince, the defender of the city. And as the story goes on, it gets interesting, especially with the antagonist, the Pope. He wants to do a war against the Looney family. But one day the Pope asks Ravenna for help. At the end of the day, Ravenna wants to escape from the Looney family, that's why she decides to help the Pope. Also, the way that readers imagine the characters, I don't think Saturnino has a beard or anything. The way he's described in the novel is kind of different. Also, the names described in this novel are really hard to pronounce. Like, I'm sorry if I pronounce their names wrong. And here's a funny thing. Whenever I start drawing, I usually switch between references. I never take reference from the mood board that I made. As for Ravana's character, she is bold and she gets a bit scared, but she doesn't show it. She knows how to use the right kind of words to talk with people. And I like how she's kind of like sharp-tongued. In the novel, the queen, basically the mother of Saturnino, she doesn't like the hair color of Ravana, but I think it looks pretty good. It's kind of like between dirty blonde and brown, but like also a bit orange. I don't know how to describe it. Kind of like a rusty shade. Now let's speed up the sketching process. I mean the line art. One thing I want to mention, I usually use the pencil brush for the line art as well, because sometimes I like to show it a bit sketchy, a bit messy, than clean line art. Kind of like the anime art style, they always have the clean line art. I mean, most of them. It's time for the coloring part. Here I am using Procreate for most of my storytime animation videos. I use IB's paint, but I feel like Procreate has the best texture brushes. From my experience, I think my art developed a lot in such a short amount of time, or maybe it could be just my skills, but I think Procreate is like totally user-friendly. IB's paint is too, but sometimes it gets a bit harder for me to blend colors. And let me tell you, I love rendering water. I used this water brush, and I don't think I have perfected this skill, but I want to learn more about rendering water. I think for me it's grass, which is the hardest to render. I added bubbles, which are necessary. Like if they're crashing to the ground, there will be a lot of bubbles, right? Impacting the scene. So I'm gonna skip over the coloring process because this is the most boring part. And then we'll go to the rendering process. Another thing, I didn't notice that I was taking reference from a K-pop group's member until my brother said that, oh, are you taking reference from this 17's member? And I was like, oh, I didn't even realize that. So her shadow is gonna reflect on his skin, so I'm gonna add a bit of blue hue on his face. I'm using the round brush, and I like the texture of it. Another complementary color to work with blue is this sort of peach color, and then adding darker shadows underneath the neck and the ear. Same process for her as well. I just realized that even if it's simple, it still looks kinda good. Though obviously it's not finished. In the novel, it is mentioned that the main protagonist, Ravana, has sharp cheekbones. I'm trying to show that, but I thought that it kind of looks weird, so I didn't. I don't know how to render strong cheekbones. I'm not really good at, muscle rendering and stuff like that, but I want to practice that as well. Whenever I render black hair, I make sure to add other colors as well. For black, I sometimes add dark blue or any darker blue shade. Some people add grays and stuff, but in my art style, I just use a variety of colors. So it looks more popping, I guess. Her hair were the hardest part to render, honestly. I'm not good at rendering long hair. Especially her hair are kind of wavy, kind of curly in a bit. So there's one thing I found out about myself is that I'm actually good at rendering straight hair, but not curly hair. That will be in one of my practice lists to do. And now adding some blonde highlights with a bit of blue. As for his clothes, I don't know what this hairy thing at the shoulders is. I don't know what it's called, but I think it would look great on his shoulders, so I just added it. Sometimes I struggle with too detailed clothing, especially when they're historical inspired. It really fascinates me how the ancient modern age civilizations put in so much detail with really less resources. I visited this Catholic church in New York City, and gosh, it looks so detailed from the inside. It's truly magnificent. Okay, spoiler alert. What I'm about to say next is going to shock you. It turns out that the Pope is actually after the Looney family. It's because his wife is actually a witch. She stole statues from his kingdom, and guess what? Those statues were actually the Looney family. So yes, they're not real human beings. They are just statues. So she gives lives to them to protect her son. I don't remember her son's name. So yeah, when Ravana finds this out, she has really less time to save her lover. And that's why in my illustration I showed him, actually I tried to draw a heart, but I couldn't. So I showed him like half turning into a statue. And his heart is actually this stone, something called the night flame. The night flames are an important part in the storyline. They're the reason why the Looney family are still alive. And Ravana is the sculptress. She thinks that she could save him. He has, it's described as bottle green eyes. Though seriously, I don't understand what does bottle mean. But I guess it's just the way how you describe things in the novels. Or in the books, I guess. Seriously, I think her gown was the most fun part to render. Because I don't like clothes like gowns and stuff. I think that they just look kinda ugly. I'm sorry. But in the book cover, I was really fascinated. The book cover actually made me to buy the book. It is literally so detailed and so realistic. And I admit that the way how I showed Ravana in my illustration isn't really much like her. But I guess that's just the art style that's different. In the book cover, she has more of darkish brown hair, while mine is slightly more vibrant. Also for the gown, I made her with like multicolor visual, just like in the book cover. In the actual scene when Ravana and Saturnina were drowning, I can't remember what they wore, so I just decided myself what they're gonna wear in this illustration. And she also has these puffy sleeves, kind of like my main protagonist from a novel called The Roseblooms and the Alabaster Tales. It's still in work, so stay tuned for that. And I'm gonna add some shattered pieces of stone. It kind of looks like glass. And just look, I'm trying to draw a heart, but it looks really off. There's a crater, a hole inside his chest, revealing his heart, but it will look too sloppy, it will look too congested. Change the line art color. Guys, I don't know how to add text in Procreate, so I just use my hand skills, use the calligraphy brush to mimic the font of the title of the book, and lastly, my signature. And here's the time-lapse version of the entire illustration, which saved you from my yapping. But hey, not to brag about myself, but I think I'm actually proud of this. Okay, so I know that you guys have been waiting for this one by just looking at the thumbnail. And those who know really know about this. It's Just Friends by Haley Pham. Haley Pham is a content creator who has been building a dedicated online community for more than a decade. And she started by making makeup videos on YouTube. Now she is known as the biggest book lover on the internet. And my story of knowing her, I heard about her from my brother. He watches Ryan Trahan. We love watching his videos. And my brother said that, hey, since you are interested in books so much, Haley Pham is like the right YouTuber you could follow. And honestly, guys, ever since I started watching her, she has become one of my favorite YouTubers. So again, from Target, my mom purchased Just Friends. I remember a year ago or something during the summer, the 50 Days and 50 States challenge. Haley Pham said that she's gonna release her book in 2026, and here it is. I read the book during summer, and it was really good. It took me a lot of time to actually find out what kind of pose I want. I kept switching between beach pose, kind of like in this limited edition cover where Declan is holding Blair. And then I thought that it would be cute if I reference the scene. I won't spoil that much from the story. They live in California, coastal California town of Seabrook, I think. And since in California it's so hot, I thought of giving them both cute summer outfits. So I thought for Blair, maybe she would wear something comfy like this. So maybe this is a perfect fit for her. And for Declan, I thought maybe this would fit him too. Something like a pastel green, because I really love green, and I think that this book is giving me cozy vibes, so pastel colors suit really well. Okay, this one is really funny. I took Ryan Trahan for reference. It's just so funny. I hope it's not like mean or anything, but I think that the characters really resonate with Haley and Ryan. So I thought that maybe taking reference, like Declan has same kind of textured blonde hair. I thought, like, I was imagining in my mind. So I thought that maybe this could be a better reference. In the novel, Declan gifts Blair a bird treehouse sort of thing. I forgot what it called. But basically, it's something special that he gives her. No spoilers what's inside. And also there's one funny part that Declan thinks that Blair acts like a booby bird. It looks like this, by the way. Honestly, it looks cute and funny at the same time. Also, Blair works in the coffee shop. That's why I kept like a coffee next to Declan. And by the way, their houses are literally beside each other, so I thought that it would be pretty cool that they're looking at each other from the windows. So this kind of concept, I saw like Secret Life of Pets having this kind of official artwork, so I thought it was pretty cute. And I think red curtains looks pretty good. My favorite part about this is like maybe rendering the window frame, taking from the reference at the side. I wanted to add more flowers, some plants sitting around them, but I thought that it will be too much, too many elements in the picture, and there wasn't space either. So it was kind of too late to add a lot of more things. But I guess simplicity is the key. In the novel, Declan's hair are described kind of brownish blonde, sort of. Kind of like dirty blonde. So I picked this shade. Blair has short hair and bangs. She has two best friends that she met in college, and they named her Blink. Oh wait, isn't that the name of Blackpink's fandom too, by the way? I think. It's cute though. As you can see, both of them are holding their phones and they are texting each other. Now I will start by rendering the skin. In the novel, his skin is just described as tan, and he plays soccer, and he is very passionate for that. He is troubled by his father, who expects a lot from him, which is kind of troubling. Blair in the story has a single mom, and both of them have shifted to Lottie's house. I'm sorry if I didn't pronounce her name right. Lottie is basically Blair's aunt, who is going through some medical conditions, and she is her most loved one. Declan has green eyes, and Blair has blue-grayish sort of eyes. Though still, it's still funny to me how he compares the blue-footed booby bird with Blair. It's so funny. It's in the scene when they play soccer together. I can imagine his hair being curly, and I'm not really good with curls again, but I tried my best. Back then, while doing digital art, I thought that why do digital artists need so many layers? You know, one for the shading of skin, one for like each part. I thought it was completely unnecessary and takes too much space and your device will explode. But turns out it's actually a really required step. Especially when I noticed that my artworks kind of turned out muddy. Oh, I thought it would be cute to add the bird in there as well. So I kind of just randomly sketched, from scratch without line art, this bird. I hope it doesn't look too much out of space. And then I added a bit of plants. I think most New York apartments have this kind of aesthetic from the videos I see on YouTube in my recommendation. And then adding some white flowers. Initially, I thought of making them chibi, but after seeing the limited edition artworks of Just Friends, I thought that forget it, let's just draw them in this art style. Also, this letter takes a key role in the story. If you notice in the book side printed edges, they have this letter everywhere. And I like that in the book, she showed actual text messages on the pages, like, which is really creative, by the way. And then I wrote with simple font. Honestly though, it was really cozy, reading this novel. I enjoyed my time reading it. I also took this book in school to read when I was bored or in my free period. And if you don't like romantic books and you want to start with one, I think this one is a perfect choice. And here is the speed up. Phew, this was a really long video. Thanks guys for staying till the end. It's okay if you didn't and skip the video. If you'd like to support my channel, please go check out the links below for my coloring book and notebook that I hand drawn by myself. Check out my Instagram for more artworks, especially if you love K-pop idols. And no basement announcements for today. That's it. Have a nice day everyone. Bye.